Hey, what's going on, everybody? Steve here. In today's video, we're going to be sharing with my friend Kevin how you can find hidden gems, profitable items that you could source on eBay to flip on Amazon. So Kevin, he's been selling for about 2 years now, and he's doing about $15,000 per month. And the cool thing of what Kevin's doing is he's buying these items from eBay. He's actually sending them to a prep center, and then he's selling them on Amazon. So he's never touching these products. If you're new, you don't have to do that. You know, for many years, I would just have everything come to my house, and all my neighbors thought I was a crazy person. But if you've been thinking about starting eBay to Amazon, but you're kind of like, well, how do I start? How do I find deals? Like, what are the things that I can do to source my first 20, 30, 40 items? This is going to be the video for you. So Kevin, thank you so much for coming on the channel. Kevin also has a YouTube channel as well, Hope Reselling. I'll link that up down below, so be sure to give him a follow. But what's happening, man? Mr. E2A himself.
Doing fantastic. How you doing?
I'm doing spectacular, man. I am having a good day. We've been shooting a bunch of videos, and I'm pumped up for this one because, again, most people never get out of the thrifting model. There's nothing wrong with thrifting. There's nothing wrong with library sales. But we had an interview that posted on my YouTube channel recently, and we kind of talked about your journey. And I know when you first started, I mean, you loved thrifting, but the downside is you have to spend a lot of time. You're kind of breaking your back. There's a lot of competition. You're hoping and praying that there's donations, that a competitor doesn't beat you out. And, with eBay to Amazon, you could source everything from home, and you've even built it up to a point where you don't even touch the products anymore since you have a prep center. Now, we're not going to dive too much into prep centers, but let's talk about the 6 little tips or tricks that you use in your business to do $15,000 a month to source from eBay, physical products like books, DVDs, board games, toys. I mean, I know you flip a bunch of different products, mostly toys and board games. I know that's your specialty, but let's kind of break down how people can do that. So what do we got for number 1 out of 6?
Perfect. So a lot of people struggle saying, where are these great deals on eBay that you're talking about, Kevin? Yeah, they feel like it's just this huge missing opportunity. And so tip number 1 is making offers. And the beauty of finding listings on eBay that say make an offer, offer available, is the best offer. When you're making that, you can take a deal that's on the surface, it doesn't even look like a good deal. But by making them an offer that they're okay with and that they're going to accept, you can take an okay deal and turn it into a great deal. So the benefit of that is it's kind of a hidden gem in the sense that on the surface, it doesn't look that great. But because you're willing to make an offer, the seller oftentimes just looks at it as a bird in the hand is better than no bird at all. So they're happy to take that offer, and it works for everybody all the way around.
Yeah, we talked about this in a previous video in one of the interviews I did with you. I'll link that up down below as well. A lot of eBay sellers, they're buying things for a couple bucks, and they find a jackpot that they list for 80. It's worth 80. It's sold before for 80, but for some reason, the algorithm you don't sell. It doesn't show. Like, who here's an eBay seller and you list it right, you price it right, and then you're like 2 weeks later, it's got 3 views. It happens all the time. So you can actually make best offers to sellers. And yeah, some people might say, Kevin, oh, what a move, man. That thing's worth 80 and you're asking 55 or 60, but somebody paid $1 or $2 for it. So it's a win-win. You get a deal where you can have baked in margin and, create like an iffy deal, turn it to a good deal and flip it on Amazon. And then, Johnny Boy's happy because he took his $1 to $2 item and flipped it. So yeah, I couldn't agree enough. And a lot of people don't do this. They really don't. Similar to thrifting, how many people skip scanning books that don't have a barcode because they don't want to scan the title or look up the ISBN? It's the same exact thing. And, Kevin and I, we use softwares to source these deals from eBay to Amazon. We'll talk about it later on in the video and share some tips about that. But the thing is, the softwares aren't going to show these deals for the most part because they don't meet the minimum profit requirements of most sellers. So you literally have like a blue ocean. So that's tip number 1. Let's talk about tip number 2, which is auctions.
Yeah. So aside from just finding listings on eBay that say best offer, there's also the opportunity for auctions. So auctions are where the seller has said, within 7 days, we'll just take the highest bid and sell it to whoever bids the highest amount. Well, going off of what you're talking about, the algorithm kind of works the same way, where just because they have an auction doesn't necessarily mean that more people are seeing that listing on eBay. And so there have been plenty of times where I have bought items off of auctions for much lower than what I would normally pay for, the buy it now price, just simply because for whatever reason, it wasn't getting shown in the algorithm. People who wanted that item weren't looking at that point in time. There's all kinds of reasons as to why that happens, but auctions very frequently, when I'm buying items that are on an auction, it tends to be for a lot less than what you would normally pay for that item on eBay.
Yeah, so when I was a full-time eBay seller, one rule that I always had was if an item isn't really popular, never do an auction. Because if the item's really popular, you get a bidding war. But if the item, like most of the items that Kevin and I sell, because Kevin and I, we've been friends for a while, we sell a lot of similar items. We're selling items that might only have 3 sales, 5 sales, 10 sales a month. They're not very sexy items. I don't know. I always say that. They're just not very exciting. We're not selling Nike. We're not selling Sony, like maybe some like old vintage stuff, but we're not selling like the hot stuffs on the shelves at Best Buy. So I couldn't agree more. I think sourcing auctions is an amazing strategy. So thanks for sharing that one. All right, let's get into tip number 3. So we talked about making offers. We talked about sniping auctions. And if you guys have any more questions about auctions or anything, just drop a comment down below. Let's talk about buying lots. Now, I was telling you behind the scenes, I don't really buy lots. I don't have a ton of experience. I've done it a few times in the past, and I did like some eBay to eBay flips, but I've never really done eBay to Amazon buying lots. So I'm curious how you go about that.
So buying lots, for people that aren't familiar with the terminology, a lot is basically a listing that has either multiple quantities of the same item, or it's different items that are kind of packaged together in one listing. So the benefit of lots is you're typically able to pick things up. If you find the right ones, you're able to buy things at a lower average price per item. So as an example, board games, I sell a ton of them. And when I was doing some research, I was looking for Monopoly Simpsons. That's one item I sell a lot of. And I was looking to pick up another quantity. And as I was doing my research, I came across a listing on eBay that had the Monopoly Simpsons and the Clue Simpsons version in the same lot. Both of them brand new, still in the plastic, great condition. I bought both of those items for, I think my cost was $43. And that's normally that's less than what I pay for one of the Monopoly Simpsons game. So I
Nice.
basically picked up another item for quote unquote free that sold for about $75 on its own. So the benefit of the lot in this case was my average cost for each item was significantly lower. It opened me up to another item that now I'm selling consistently that I was unaware of. And there's been other lots that I've bought where it's like 3 of the same item, but the cost per item goes down significantly, especially even if all you're doing is just getting a savings on the shipping. So that's one thing you want to look for is if it's an item you're confident you're going to be able to sell off that quantity. Lots, there's great opportunities there.
Now, out of my own curiosity, and I'm sure the viewers would love to hear this as well. For the people who are doing eBay to Amazon, most of them are, sourcing with software. The software is probably not going to pick up the lots because they might not include a UPC. How do you search for, like, let's just say board games? How do you find board game lots on eBay? Are you just going into eBay and typing in board game lot newly listed and just kind of ripping it that way?
Yeah, correct. So if there's an item that I'm looking to, like a lot of times what happens is when I'm watching my sales come through Amazon, if there's an item that I see that's selling over and over again and I need to go pick up more quantity, I'll just go to eBay and search for that item plus lots and see what's there. Oftentimes there's nothing, but every now and then I get surprised and there's just some great pickups there. But because what you're talking about, those lots don't get picked up in the softwares that we're going to talk about. And so just doing a little bit of manual search, you're going to find some opportunities that most people have no idea they exist.
Nice, man. I love these tips. You know what I'll be doing after this video, man. I'll be typing in board game lots, DVD lots. No. Awesome. Okay, let's get into tip number 4. And on our notes, it says use eBay notifications for top selling items. What do you mean by that, Kevin?
Yeah. So when you're doing a search on eBay, you can type in, Monopoly or Monopoly games or whatever search you're doing. There's a little star icon next to it where you can star that search. And what will happen is every morning when I wake up, I have like the list of items that I'm selling over and over again. I literally have like 20 email notifications per day that pop up. And it's just the search results of anything new for that particular listing. And so by saving the searches, I'm getting notified every morning. And so when I sit down to do my sourcing, those like 20 emails are where I'm starting my sourcing for the day.
That is what I like to call a pro tip right there. All right, perfect, Kevin. So let's get into tip number 5, using Keepa Product Finder to create a list of great selling items to research. I love this one. This one's close to my heart, man. So tell people a little bit about what is Keepa Product Finder and how are you using this to be able to find those hidden gems on eBay to flip on Amazon?
Yeah. So first of all, if you're selling on Amazon and you're not using Keepa, please take this as the polite slap upside the head. You probably should start. With that being said, most people just look at Keepa, the charts that are popping up on Amazon, and that's great. But if you go to their website, keepa.com, and use your login, there's what's called Product Finder inside their website. And what it allows you to do is there's just this massive screen of settings that you can put in for the type of items that you're looking for. So you can say, I want items that are only selling for $50 or $75 or whatever, or higher, items where Amazon's not on the listing. Maybe it's something that's out of stock or something where the price is trending up or down. You can put in whatever settings that you want. And then Keepa is going to spit out a list of products that fit that description. And so you can literally take that list and just start using it to source, even though these are items that maybe you're unfamiliar with or you've never sold before. It's just a way to start building up a list of items that you can start sourcing right away.
Man, I'm telling you, this is such a hidden secret, and it's been a game changer for me. One thing that I do is when I'm analyzing, say I come across a specific Amazon page for like a mouse or something, there's some mouses I'll flip for 50, 60, 70, 80 bucks, some Logitech, HP. But say I come across an item, I could go down on Keepa and I could take a look at all the sellers on it, and I could click the seller, and guess what? It'll open up their whole entire store. And I could literally run that through Keepa Product Finder and download. Like, say I look at this store and I'm like, wow, these have got to be all like eBay to Amazon products. And like, right? Like, you always know, like, if you're doing like thrifting, you could tell, like, oh, that's a thrifter, or that's a bulk bookseller. Oh, that's an eBay to Amazon flipper. You can just tell. You could download the whole entire store and have all of their products and replens at your disposal. I mean, imagine how cool that would be if you could actually just upload all those products to a software and track them at all times.
Yeah, imagine. Yeah, we might talk about that.
All right. With that being said, let's get into tip number 6. And we're going to talk about a software that I've actually developed. And this isn't going to be a whole pitch fest or anything, but this is something that Kevin's been using the last couple months that have really helped him out a lot. So let's talk a little bit about Replan Catcher. And maybe you can share how you're using that, what it does, and like how it's helping you to find some hidden gems.
Yeah, and the reason why this is on the list of finding hidden gems is because, like you mentioned, I love Flipmine. Flipmine is how I got started and how I learned a lot of the E to A business. And it's great software. I love it. I used it for a very long time. But the main reason why I kind of transitioned and went to something else was we talked about this on the previous video. One of my challenges with Flipmine is it kind of got to the point where it felt like there was so many other people looking for the same items that it just was a race of who could refresh and buy the quickest. And so it just took a lot more time to find deals because it felt like everybody was fighting over the same deals. One of the things that I love about Replan Catcher, just going back to the previous tip that we shared, is even if I have nothing, even if I've never sold an item on Amazon before and I don't have a list of replens to go back to, I can go to the Keepa Product Finder, download the type of products I would like to sell, and upload that list into Replan Catcher. And now it's finding opportunities on eBay that are specific to items I'm looking for instead of just the same items that everybody else is competing on with other softwares. And that's where this is just such a hidden gem in my world, is because I'm tracking the products that I want to track, I'm able to shave my sourcing time dramatically.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you so much for sharing all those tips. Thanks for the Replan Catcher shout out as we was building out this outline for the video and whatnot. And man, I'm just super excited to see where you take your eBay to Amazon business. I know you mentioned in a previous video, the goal is to get to 25,000 a month, man. I just think you're doing such a great job, and just thanks for sharing all this value. If you guys want to learn more from Kevin, check out his YouTube channel. I'll post it down below. And if you want to learn even more from Kevin, he's one of the coaches inside of our Reselling Freedom membership. So you can check that out over at resellingfreedom.com. We do about 4 to 6 coaching calls per week. We've got a course, we've got workshops, communities. So if you're looking to get started or you want to learn about eBay to Amazon or just scale or source more products, definitely come check it out. But Kevin, thank you so much for coming on and dropping all this knowledge. And yeah, I'm sure we'll be connecting soon, man. Keep killing it. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right, man. We'll talk soon. Take care, everybody.